Ryan Poles, RG3. Ho ho ho! Who doesn't love some beef between an NFL GM and a former player? I know I do. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Bears GM Ryan Poles putting RG3 on blast for comments that he made about Caleb Williams. For context, RG3 suggested that Caleb Williams should pull an Eli Manning draft night move for the 2024 NFL Draft. Obviously, Caleb Williams will not follow through with that move and will more or less agree to play for the Bears, as he will replace Justin Fields as their starting quarterback. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. What is your reaction to Ryan Poles blasting RG3 for comments on Caleb Williams? Honestly, I am quite frankly surprised that Ryan Poles even took the time to respond back to RG3 because of how irrelevant RG3 is as a sports media talker. When you think about sports media talkers, you think about Stephen A. Smith, you think about Shannon Sharpe, you think about Pat McAfee. You're not really thinking about somebody like RG3. He's not even more relevant than Ryan Clark. But for RG3 to make that suggestion for Caleb Williams was asinine, to say the least. That was one of the dumbest suggestions that a former quarterback could give out to a current draft prospect, particularly a generational prospect like Caleb Williams. Look, I've been a long-time critic of Caleb Williams. I've been very critical of how he has handled this year's draft process. In fact, I've been critical about Caleb Williams as a leader and as a person. I believe that Caleb Williams doesn't have what it takes to be a great quarterback in the National Football League, at least mentally speaking. We know that he can physically do it, but when we talk about him as a leader and as a person, I'm not really confident in Caleb Williams being a phenomenal quarterback in the National Football League. But as far as what RG3 said what Caleb Williams should do, are you kidding me, RG3? Why would Caleb Williams do that? You're already one of the most disliked draft prospects that the game has ever seen. Why make yourself even more disliked throughout this draft process? If this dude pulled an Eli Manning on draft night, this guy will have lost all respect and any credibility that he has left in him. This is the same dude that paints his fingernails as a hobby, which, by the way, I've never heard a straight man do. I know Caleb Williams is straight on the record, but I've never heard a straight man paint his fingernails as a hobby. It's just very strange to me. And it's the fact that he doesn't shake hands with opponents. You also look at how this guy runs into the stands and cries in his mother's arms. You look at the fact that Caleb Williams is just not a normal dude in general whatsoever. But one thing I will give Caleb Williams credit for is that he's willing to play for the Chicago Bears and that he's willing to do whatever it takes to turn around that franchise. Obviously, RG3 did not want Caleb Williams to go play in Chicago. It seems pretty obvious that RG3 wants Caleb Williams to play for the Washington Commanders. Before I go on though about what RG3 said, let me just show you what RG3 had to say about Caleb Williams. Roll the film.
Caleb Williams should pull a Eli Manning and demand that the Chicago Bears do not draft him #1 overall. After everything that's happened with just Justin Fields, can Caleb Williams really look at that and say, you know what? This is the organization that has my best interests at heart, and they're going to help develop me into the player that I want to become. Caleb Williams is on record saying that he wants to be legendary. He wants to rewrite history, and he wants to be the best that he can possibly be and win the most games he can possibly win. After the Bears took Justin Fields, the 11th pick in the draft, and turned him into a 6th round pick in the 2025 draft by trading him to the Pittsburgh Steelers, can Caleb Williams really look at that and say, you know what? Yeah, this organization is going to help get me where I want to go?
While I partially agree with what RG3 had to say about Caleb Williams, what I don't agree with what RG3 had to say about Caleb Williams involved the fact that the Chicago Bears are not currently set up for success right now. I don't agree with that because of the fact that the Chicago Bears had a really good offseason outside of the fact that they screwed up their quarterback and coach situation. But anyways, though, when you look at what the Chicago Bears have done, they've done a good job adding a running back in DeAndre Swift. He's one of the better backs in the National Football League. You look at how they also traded for Keenan Allen, where they only had to give up a 4th round pick to acquire Keenan Allen. Now you add Keenan Allen to an offense that has DeAndre Swift and DJ Moore. The Bears offense right now has pieces to succeed. This is not your typical #1 overall pick team where they are in shambles and that the organization is filled with dysfunction all over the place. The Chicago Bears, quite frankly, have done a lot of good right now. You look at how the Bears now, they got 2 really good receivers. Their offensive line is above average, and the fact that they got one of the better running backs in the National Football League. And defensively, they're getting better as well in there because of the fact that Montez Sweat has elevated their defense defense big time, and the fact that Matt Eberflus has been able to instill in some culture on the Chicago Bears defense. However, I don't agree with what they had to do with Justin Fields at the quarterback position. I felt like the Chicago Bears should have traded back from pick 1 and built the team around Justin Fields because of the fact that Justin Fields improved tremendously in the second half of the season. If you asked me how I felt about Justin Fields after the first 8 games of last season, I would have said to clearly get rid of him, but I thought Justin Fields showed tremendous strides late in the year and that he made a lot of good plays on the football field. And obviously the Chicago Bears improved from a 3-win team to a 7-win team, and obviously Justin Fields was a big reason why the Chicago Bears improved offensively speaking. But it seems like the organization, they want to start fresh at the quarterback position. They want to draft their own guy. Remember, Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Chicago Bears, was not the guy that drafted Justin Fields 11th overall. That was under former general manager Ryan Pace. So it seems like Ryan Poles wants to go ahead and put his own stamp on his franchise by being able to take a quarterback, and he's going to have a chance to take Caleb Williams with the #1 overall pick. Obviously, Ryan Poles took issue as to what RG3 had to say for what Caleb Williams should do because of the fact that it made the Chicago Bears look bad. He clapped back at RG3 on the Pat McAfee Show, and before I ramble on about what Ryan Poles said, let me just show you guys what Ryan Poles actually had to say in response to RG3's comments about Caleb Williams. Roll the film.
RG3 comes out. You heard it. Yeah. Okay. What are your, like, don't you think, like, your particular Bears feels different than maybe the previous Bears? Like, that's how we feel outside looking in. It's like, hey, this is a brand new building almost. Does it feel like that in there? And obviously you weren't there beforehand, but does it feel like you and Eberflus's culture is, because at the end of the last season, it feels like, okay, the culture is kind of settling in, team settling in. You guys feel that, obviously?
Yeah, it pisses me off a little bit, to be honest with you, because we were hired to break a cycle. The same thing when I was in Kansas City. Coach Reed, all of us were brought there to break a cycle, and we did. And no one talks about those days anymore. It's all about what they are right now. So I really believe we're about to break this cycle and get this city in a really good situation and win a lot of games. So the past is the past. Like, I don't worry about that at all. It's about where we're going.
Wow, Ryan Poles came out with some strong comments towards RG3. He is basically guaranteeing that the cycle of mediocrity at the Chicago Bears quarterback position is going to end with the draft selection of Caleb Williams, and that he believes that Caleb Williams will be a transcendent player where he'll be able to change the history of the Chicago Bears in terms of being able to find a franchise quarterback. Obviously, the Chicago Bears have not done well when it comes to finding franchise quarterbacks. They haven't had a franchise quarterback in over 70 years, and the last time they had good quarterback play was Sid Luckman back in the 1940s. Obviously, you look at what Caleb Williams has done at the collegiate level, you have to be impressed with his physical skill set. Obviously, I have a lot of questions about his leadership skills and his ability to be a good teammate where teammates are going to end up liking him. But obviously, Caleb Williams is a physical phenom and that he can make all the throws on the football field. As far as physical talent goes, Caleb Williams checks every single box. I like Caleb Williams on the field. It's his off the field issues where I have issues with Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams is a phenomenal talent, and Ryan Poles is basically referencing how this guy is going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. Hence, that's why he referenced his time where the Kansas City Chiefs built the team around Patrick Mahomes, because he used to be part of the Kansas City Chiefs front office during their dynasty days. Now he's the general manager of the Chicago Bears, and he seems to be very confident that Caleb Williams will end the drought of bad quarterback play for the Chicago Bears. But I'm not that confident that drafting Caleb Williams is going to solve all their issues, because even though the Chicago Bears do have a good offense now with the weapons that they do have, Caleb Williams is not a guy that a lot of people can necessarily respect because of the hobbies that he does. Again, who paints fingernails as a straight man? I've never heard no straight man paint fingernails as a hobby. It's just very strange to me. And the fact that he ran up to the stands after a game and cried in his mother's arms. Again, who does that? I've never seen a quarterback act like Caleb Williams, at least at the professional level. Now, maybe there's been quarterbacks that act like Caleb Williams, but they've been either at the high school or collegiate level. And obviously, NFL teammates are probably not going to be too familiar with the personality of Caleb Williams. The guy clearly shows his emotions on his sleeves, and I just don't like that about NFL quarterbacks in general. I prefer my quarterbacks to be stoic, be the same guy every time, whether it's a touchdown, whether it's an interception. I want them to be the calming force on the opposing sidelines, and obviously Caleb Williams doesn't have that in him. We'll see whether Caleb Williams can use his talent to overcome his lack of leadership skills, because right now I'm not overly confident in Caleb Williams being able to do that. But as far as Ryan Poles blasting RG3 for comments on Caleb Williams, yeah, I'm pretty surprised that Ryan Poles actually responded back to RG3. If I was him, I wouldn't have even wasted my time responding back to RG3, but I guess guess good for yourself. I mean, I do think RG3 is a clown in general and that he is a terrible sports media talker. But I mean, at the end of the day though, you're going to have to be able to build the team around Caleb Williams, which the Chicago Bears seem like they have done that part so far. And also, you guys have to remember that Caleb Williams has to not have mental breakdowns while being the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, because he ain't going to be used to playing in that cold in the city of Chicago, because he grew up in Washington, D.C., and then obviously he plays college football at USC, so he's got to play at pretty warm places for the most part. He's never had to play in a cold weather place, but we'll see what happens with Caleb Williams. I believe that he will be a future draft bust, but hey, what's done is done now. Now, obviously, if you're Ryan Poles, you got to go ahead and build the team around Caleb Williams and continue to do so while trying to give Caleb Williams some continuity, because if you don't give a quarterback continuity, that quarterback is probably not going to succeed in the National Football League. So that is why I was surprised with Ryan Poles blasting RG3 for comments that he made on Caleb Williams, at least publicly speaking. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin and that Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.